Marawa TV continues with the conversations on Marawa Moments. And today, you know what, when we were all worried and we're wondering what is going to happen, because coronavirus was still something pretty new to South Africa, not new to the world, but, you know, a couple of cases that happened early on in March. I remember Crown House being the center of attention as it was happening there, people coming back from the UK and various trips. And all of a sudden, boom, there was a notification that the president of Netball SA had also tested positive for coronavirus. And all hell broke loose. But I am glad that she is fine. She's on the show. Madam Cecilia Molokwane, good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Robert, and all the viewers.
How are you feeling?
Excellent. I am excellent. That much I can tell you. I feel new. I feel like a brand new person.
And it wasn't always like that. First, tell me though, how worried about you were you when you knew that you had tested positive for COVID-19?
Very worried, Robert. I mean, when they give you the results and they tell you you have tested positive, and the first thing that comes to your mind is, oh my word, am I dying or something? Because this thing doesn't have a cure. So what am I going to do? Then you start having a lot of questions without answers. And then it starts now to drain you, you know, physically, emotionally, and worse, it goes and drains you mentally. You start thinking about a lot of things of, if I would have done this, if I didn't do this, if I didn't go to the UK, if I would have stayed at home, and you start blaming yourself. And that's one thing that I think when you have COVID-19 and you start doing that, you start being negative, it will definitely kill you.
What was the biggest source of strength for you though? Because you've got to come back home and you've got family. There's young ones that want to be in your company, but they can't because you've got to be quarantined. So you can't have access to anybody.
It was difficult. Being in my room for 2 weeks, alone, not talking to anyone, not being in contact with anyone, just using phones. And, you know, I didn't even want to do like your video call like I'm doing with you now. I wouldn't do that because I was like a mess because I was thinking too much of my kids. I mean, Robert, we all know that I lost my husband last year, February. And come, you know, March 2020, and you are diagnosed with a disease that doesn't have a cure. You go like, what have I done wrong? You know, what is going on in my life? Then you go like, well, how will my kids cope? They've just lost their father, and now the mother is coming back to say, look, I'm positive, and we all know that this doesn't have a cure. It drains the kids emotionally. It drains them because firstly, they've got friends. I'm a public figure, and I decided to go public, even though they were not happy with it. To say, Mama, you know, these people will say you have a stigma now, and I'm like, guys, I don't know who I met. Where did I meet them? I don't know everybody. I can remember, I can remember some other people, but I can't remember everybody. So I have to save the country, and I cannot be selfish with this thing. And they said, no, Mama, we understand. But at the end of the day, we lost friends. My kids lost friends. You know, Robert, the one thing that hurt me more than any other thing, the other day, my son called me and said, Mama, come and look. And when I went to I looked through the window and I saw kids were passing by my gate and they were spitting on my gate. Some were covering their nose and mouth. It was bad. It was really bad. And I'm like, so coronavirus is not on me. It's not in me now. It's on my street. It's on my gate. It's, oh my word. It was bad. It was really bad. And you need the kind of support that I had. My brother stays in Pretoria. I had to come down all the way from Pretoria to come stay with me to make sure that I'm okay, because he knew that I needed a shoulder to cry on, and he was there for me. And then, I'd also like to thank my nanny. You know, she never went home when they said lockdown. She said, look, madam, you're sick and I can't leave you like this. I won't be fair leaving you like this. And I had a prayer warrior. This girl is a girl that I coached when I was still a coach. She heard about my situation, and then Seppo decided to say, okay, I want to pray with coach every day. Robert, I've never prayed like that in my life.
Wow.
I prayed at 6 in the morning, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9, 12, 3 a.m.s. I prayed and I followed the instructions that the doctor gave me, because my doctor, it's a doctor that I've had since I was 19 years old. So he's been there for me. And then he said to me, look, if we have to beat this, follow what I'm saying. They say this thing doesn't like hot areas, stay in a hot room. And I said, do you see the degrees in Limpopo? Are you serious? And he says, yes, I am definitely serious. Drink hot stuff. Oh, by the way, Robert, when I say hot stuff, I don't mean alcohol. Eh? Please, let's get this right. It's not about alcohol. It's about tea and your lemon and lemon water and lemon ginger, those kind of things, hot milk. Don't say Cecilia said it's about hot stuff and it's about alcohol. I don't even drink alcohol, so I'll never advise anyone to do that. And I exercised. Even though when I exercise, it's on a very private area, that I don't, get to contact with people. And I started to be positive. And I said, look, Cecilia, you've been through worse in your life. Your life has been just a roller coaster. And you know that it has never been an easy life. So why should you give up now? I talked to myself. The most important thing that I did is I talked to myself. And I said to myself, look, I am going to conquer this. Come what may, I'll conquer it. And I had a punching bag. I had somebody that, when I felt like ventilating, I did that. And then, it's said that I've lost the person. They don't understand why I did what I did, but it's fine. It's God's way. Let the journey continue.
Sure. When you describe it that way, and we've got to, praise you for having come out in the first place, because that was the great hallmark, so that people could start to have a face of what it looks like, because it was always this unforeseen thing. Even now, even if you hear that 30,000 people have passed away in France, or 41,000 have passed away in America, there is no face, there's no body bags, there's nothing that you see. You just see numbers. So if you see a person like yourself who said, I'm positive, I am withdrawing from public life, and I am going to stay away from so and so. How were you able to, and I use Chris Cuomo. Chris works for CNN, is one of the hosts that comes in after Anderson Cooper early in the mornings. And he contracted the COVID-19. So he does his show from home. So he was also quarantined in the basement of his house. But then somehow last week, the wife contracted it as well. And he had been quarantined. So I think in procedures where he has to eat, remember? So food has to be put at the door. He opens the door, gets the plate, and maybe when they pick up, something might have gone wrong. How were you able to handle all of that? Because somebody needed to cook for you, you needed to be fed, you needed to survive.
That's the problem. As I said, my nanny, she deserves a medal. She deserves something great. I mean, she was there for me, cooking for me. As you said, they'll put it there and I'll have it to come and go, to collect and sanitize. We had to sanitize a lot. And after they've come to contact with me, they'll wash their hands as much as they can. Because they don't know what I touched. If I touched it, it's contagious or whatever. And it was, Robert, I don't even know how to explain it. It was so difficult. Because you're living a life that is not yours, firstly. You're trying to overcome a disease that you don't even know what kind of a disease it is. You're trying to keep positive, and you're trying to eat healthy. You're trying to say to yourself, I'll beat this. Imagine now it's you and it's your wife, you've contacted this, who's going to help you? It's a very difficult situation. I was fortunate to have my nanny, and we actually did a lot of things. I always say to her, you are one of a kind. Some people, when they hear about this, and because of it's a killer, they would have, left me and went home, especially after the president announced, the lockdown. But she opted not to, and said, I'll call my kids and I'll tell them that we'll be fine. Let's fight this together. And you need that kind of support. As I said, I also had support, and even though, you know, people don't understand that, you know, Robert, when you're sick, your mind sometimes doesn't work as much as it's working now, because you have so many things going on in your mind, and you're like, what's going to happen next? And then I was lucky, as I said, I had a punching bag. How many of us have a punching bag? How many of us have people that you know, they pray for, they call you every day? Even though I was mocked, Robert, remember, if you went to my social media, oh my word, I read it after, you know, 3 weeks. My Facebook page was, oh my word, people are heartless out here. They're just heartless. And thinking that I went to the UK to do a national duty, I didn't go there for holiday or for fun or for any other thing, but I was going there to represent the nation, and I was mocked the way I was insulted the way I was. It was really shocking. And you know, I said to myself, God forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. You know, just forgive them. They were giving their opinions, and they don't know what I'm going through. Anyway, I wish, what my wish for them is, God, they must never experience this, because I don't think they can handle it. So don't give it to them. Just keep them safe. That's how I prayed.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, social media, Twitter, that's the wild, wild west. There's nothing that you can take from there that is ever designed to be positive, that is ever designed to mean well for somebody who was in your position. I mean, we spoke to Peter Drury, one of the most famous football commentators, and he says he keeps away from that space. Because sometimes when you get that negative energy there, it also doesn't sit well. Yes, it's nice to be on the platforms, but then when it's directed at you, it is difficult to absorb. And I'm glad that you're treating it the way that you do, because any other way, it's going to come back and mentally stuff you up. And you don't want to be going through another process again of having to deal with your mental attitude, etc., etc. But how do you see South Africa? Because that worries me. I see people, you know, people are very hard-headed about going to church. People still want to go out. People still want to go party. They want to drink alcohol, which compromises the immune system, and that is why they don't want them to do that. And also to smoke, because it compromises the lungs, and hence it is one of those diseases where you got to keep away all of those elements from your system. How do you think South Africans are taking this? Because there's just an element for me where it's just like, ayikho lento.
I'm worried about us as South Africans, truly speaking, because we don't take this very seriously. And the more we don't take it seriously, I'm afraid we will hear fellow South Africans from the president to increase the lockdown. I'm afraid that we're going to hear that, because instead of the numbers going down, the numbers are going up. And the more the numbers are going up, it means the more infections we'll have, and the more, you know, at risk our people will be. I mean, imagine now if kids can go to school with numbers that are going up like this. What will happen if one kid has it and, you know, spread it to other children? What will happen to the school? Do we have the capacity as the country to contain it and to get all those people into hospital and whatever? The one thing that I can say to South Africans, guys, this is real. It's happening. It's here. Let's stay home and be safe. I mean, I don't like staying home. You know that, Robert. I don't like staying home, but let us stay home for us to be safe and to save the country. You know, the most important thing is to save lives. I mean, people dying like this is not a good thing. And coronavirus, I'll always say, and I'll always say this, doesn't move. People move. So stay at home, South Africans. Don't drink alcohol, don't smoke. There's a reason why all these things is happening. Let's focus. I know it's not easy. Maybe I'm one of the fortunate. I don't know, because I don't have a partner anymore, so I don't have to shout at anybody and do anything. I know it's not easy because you're not used to staying with your partner for certain times and, you know, in certain hours, sitting in one house. I know it's difficult, but anyway, I want to say, guys, let's tolerate each other, you know, and for this period, and let it pass. After this period, maybe we will be brand new people. Like I said to you, I feel brand new. I feel like a new person because I did a lot of introspections, and what do I see myself doing, where I'm going, what do I want to go, what do I want to change, what do I want to do, and what kind of a leader do I want to be in the future after this COVID-19. So let's take COVID-19 seriously. People are not serious about it, and it worries me. People are going up and down. The cars are going up and down. Yesterday, I went out to Spar to buy some things for the first time after a month that I've been in my house. I went out to Spa, I would go to Spa, Spa is sponsoring me. So I went to Spa and I went to buy some things and to make a donation, for the needy, because Spa asked us to do that as one of their partners. So I had to do that. So I did that. So I was shocked at how the cars were moving around it, how people were moving as though there's nothing happening. And I'm like, oh my word, I'll never allow this, and I'll never expose my kids to this, because I know the feeling. I've been there, I've done that. Robert, I've got a t-shirt to show, so I have to be safe.
But did you not fear, though, as much as you were relieved to go out to the supermarket to go get those essentials, did you not maybe fear reinfection, because maybe you're still vulnerable, maybe you don't know who at the till might have it, in the packaging, in wherever? Did you not fear that?
I wanted to be positive. I said to myself, I heard that once we have it, it never gets to you again. So I was like, okay, let me be positive. I'm going to go out there to do what I have to do. I want to be positive. I'm not going to stay here and be negative. I've conquered it, and I'm going to tell myself that I'm a conqueror and nothing will happen to me. I just stayed positive and took precautions. When I went to Spa, luckily Spa, have got people sanitizing everything, your trolleys, your everything, they sanitize everything. So I was, when I got in there and the doors were like, they were sanitizing, I was more at ease to say, okay, now I'm safe. I'm more safe than what I thought I'll be, because I had my sanitizers. So, and I kept the distance, that I did. I had to, because I wanted to be safe, and I didn't want to come back and contract it and give it to my kids when, they never had it and they tested negative. And that's what I was saying, oh my word, this is so frustrating. But at the end of the day, you don't have to be scared to live your life because of you once had coronavirus. You just have to go on, live your life, but take precautions. Don't underestimate it, because you don't know what might happen. They might say it doesn't get to twice. You might be an example that it does get to twice. So I didn't want to be that example.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think part of the reason why, whenever we've spoken, we've been talking about netball, which is exactly what you are the president of. And, for a change, I don't even want to touch that now, because in a way, when we look at the mindset of South Africans, I also want you to be that leader. And you were from the beginning, and we salute you for having come out, is to utilize that journey for the betterment of others. We are going into a winter period just now. So people are going to get their flu jabs, which half the time gives them the flu and they start to get sick. It gets very, very cold. So the sniffles are there, the sneezing is there, the coughing is there. What did your doctor advise you in terms of intake? I know that they talk about vitamin C. You've got to up the intake of vitamin C tablets, or even just have your oranges, your grapefruits, etc. What was the advice in terms of just popping supplements?
He gave me some tablets. I don't know them. I'm not a doctor. But I took supplements, as you said, a lot of vitamin C. And I didn't know. I know now that your lemon has got more vitamin C than your orange, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And now I know. I'm taking a lot of lemon. Even now, before I talk to you, I was drinking my lemon and ginger, because now I've just turned out to be a granny, because the grannies drink tea all the time. I was never a tea person, but now I think I'm the best. When I come visit you, Robert, please.
I'll even buy you Oma rusks as well, so that you can compose there and
I would love that. Take vitamin C, take a lot of warm water. Let's avoid cold things. As much as we can, let's avoid cold things. And let's stay warm. I think because of winter is coming, I'm also scared, to tell you the truth. I'm scared because winter is coming, and I don't even know if winter is coming. Will we still be on lockdown, or will we be working? And what will I meet? Who will I meet at what time? Where? What would happen? I mean, it's scary. But let's take the vitamin C's, and let's take your boosters, your immune boosters. Take as much as you can, and your kind of any B12s. I'm a B12 person. So go and buy your B12s. They're working for me. I don't know if they can work for you, but B12 and vitamin C, I think they can work well for you, any other person.
Well, a lot of your neighbors told me that you've been busy. You've been playing netball. You've been keeping a very positive mindset. You've basically gone back to being the high school kid who loved the game, and you've been skipping, you've been training, and so on. I mean, tell me about that regime and how's that worked for you?
As I said, COVID-19 have changed people.
Yeah.
I don't know when was the last time that I trained, to tell you the truth. It's just that God blessed me with a body that doesn't go up and down and whatever. And I said, okay, fine. But now I decided, no, if I have to fight this pandemic, I have to also be serious. They said exercise is key. I need to exercise. I started exercising only to find out that the benefits for exercising are more greater than what I thought. I've gone back to be this player. I think at TNL, Robert, when we do the TNL this year, when they say celebrity games, they must put me on court and see what the president can do with a netball ball, and show people that I was not a president by mistake. I played the sport, and I had the skills, and I have everything. I'm keeping myself busy. I do every exercise that I thought about. Remember, I'm a former coach and a sports scientist by profession, so I know what is happening. So I was just trying to make sure that I keep myself fit and keep myself abreast. And actually, I'm not even doing that alone. I take my daughter, my 16-year-old daughter. She hates exercise, but I take her and say, come, let's exercise. And the 3-year-old will join, even though she doesn't know what she's doing, but she'll join, and it becomes a sort of a new reunion for me and my daughters. And it has refreshed me. I feel so refreshed, so young, and I love what I see when I look at me. I love what I see now.
You're popping again. Eh? The six-pack is going to come back. You're popping. You're going to be the it girl out there. Hey, why not?
No, I can't be the it girl. I'm very old for that.
In summary, and I am so glad that we were able to have this conversation, because I hope if it helps a family, if it helps a community out there, we would have been able to have achieved what we set out to achieve. We're not talking sport. We're talking a human life that is being spared right now. Others have not been spared worldwide. Others have not been spared here in South Africa. And the numbers, as you say, continue to grow. For you, what is the one fundamental thing that, when you say the mindset, you've been able to interrogate yourself and think about so many different things? What is the first thing that you want to do, let's say, when normality comes back?
To tell you the truth, Robert, I just want to go to church and thank God.
Wow.
I've been given a second chance. I normally don't go to church, to tell you the truth, because of my busy schedule. It's not that I do it because I want to do it. It's because of my busy schedule. That's the only thing I want to do, just to go to church and thank God and say, thank you, God, for sparing me and giving me a second chance. After that, have a beautiful, big outside, outgoing venture with my kids, and just experience life and say, we never thought that we would travel together like this again in our lives. So it's an opportunity. Those are small things that we don't see, but I want to do them. I want just to go to church, after just maybe take a drive to Mahoba's Kloof and come back with the kids and watch nature at its level best.
You talk about nature. Nature has been renewed. Nature has been revived. The pollution that man sets up on nature has been halted. We saw the crash of the oil price the other day to, levels that we've never ever seen with our naked eyes. Penguins are fluttering around because there's no humans to mess things up. The air that you breathe is, the grass is greener, the trees are flourishing, the ocean is bluer. All of those things are happening. Why? Because somehow, as terrible as it is, it almost looks like God is pressing that reset button to say, let's start all over, but start differently. Because I doubt things are going to ever be the same. Let me take your final thoughts on that.
I think we are a new nation. We are a new country. We are new people. We are starting a new season. I mean, in the religion language, they'll be talking about seasons. We're starting a new season, a season of, for the first time, there's no carbon monoxide going all over. The cars are parked in our garages. They are not there. For the first time, the birds can fly free as they want to, and there's not disturbing anything. For the first time, you can sit, Robert, with your family and discuss issues that you couldn't discuss. We should look at little things that matters most. For the first time, you don't buy fast food. You don't go and get fast food. You have to cook at home and embrace the cooking at home. For the first time, I can get into the pool with my kids and we swim together, something that you'd never do. You'd never have time for that. I can help my kids with whatever they want me to help them with. We can argue, we can laugh, we can dance, we can do whatever, things that we didn't do because we don't have time for each other. Now it's time for reflection. It's time for South Africa to say, we have done this. We have seen how important some of the things we do. We continue with them or do we go back to our old style? That's the question I'll leave for the South Africans. I won't answer it, but I'll say, do we continue with the lifestyle that we've been living healthy, or do we go back to our old style and not want things to happen? I mean, to me, now I can see that some things are more important than the ones that I thought they were. And do you see that as a South African, that some things are more important than what you thought they are? And time is precious. And when you're given time, make use of it. And valuably so. Because you don't know what tomorrow might bring to you.
Very, very powerful, Madam President. I want to thank you ever so much for being part of Marawa Moments and Marawa TV. I want to thank you for being the positive thinker that you are. I want to thank you for being the inspiration that you are, and for maybe just giving a nation a little bit of hope, because I can talk to you. I know you. We have had to go on lockdown because of the interaction, the interview that we had on the 10th of March after you got back on the 8th of March. So everything is realigned. I am happy that you are healthy, that you are no longer positive as far as coronavirus or COVID-19 is concerned. Long may that continue. Thank you so much, and keep strong. Get that six-pack back. Keep playing that netball. Keep skipping. You're going to become a personal trainer one of these days. Thank you very, very much for your time, ma'am. Stay strong.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And stay blessed. And coronavirus doesn't move. People move. Stay home and be safe.
Go wash those hands now. Go wash those hands, mama. Go wash those hands. Thank you so much indeed. Subscribe, like. Thank you, the president of Netball SA, Ma'am Cecilia Molokwane, thanking us so much indeed for that very open conversation. There is hope, trust me.